Not the result that I think any of us, I know it's not the result that any of us wanted. Probably not even the result that many of us, I dare say, expected. I've got Stan, I've got Rowan, I've got Glenn. We're missing one from the Same Old Arsenal USA crew today, but consider this a little bit of a reprieve or a makeup show from missing you guys on Tuesday. We're off and running. Let's hit it. How's it? Welcome to Arsenal Aftermath. As much as you hate to say it, boy, it's it's the same old Arsenal at Anfield, isn't it, fellas? First half, I thought we've got a chance here. Even going into halftime, you got a chance. And that's for anybody that gambles. That's all you want. You just a dollar and a dream, and we had that at halftime, and then we came out in the second half, and just it's my opinion, but I think in the second half we came out to not get thrashed 4-0, and we got thrashed 4-0. So let's go around the horn here. Rowan, good to have you on a Saturday afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I was pumped up for the game, and of course, I'm gutted in the manner of the loss. The scoreline. It was always probably going to be no points at Anfield for us. There's in the first half we showed signs of improvement. In the second half, we showed that we are the same old Arsenal, right? So overall, I don't think I'm going to overreact because I expected it to be 0 points. There's a lot to take in from the game, and we're going to discuss that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll certainly get into it. Stan, out on the Pacific West Coast, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, not bad. Can't complain. Obviously, I would have liked just got 3 points today. But we've gone on the back of a 10-game run. I said a few weeks ago that when you have a young team, that there'll be a few more bumps in the road. And I'm a little bit like, well, as long as we can win the games that we should be winning, i.e., when we play Newcastle, then we have to look at today as a part of an education for this young team. That's how I look at it. It's an education for them, and I just hope that they learn the lessons from it and can improve and take those lessons into future games.
Yeah, little bit of humble pie this afternoon, yeah, and we'll expound on that a little bit more as the show goes on. Certainly last but certainly not least. Sorry, Glenn, I almost said certainly last but not. Up in New York, how are you, man?
All right. Well, BG, thanks for asking me on. The one time I was hoping you would not do a post-game show was fucking today, but you did it, and I promised you, so I'm here.
You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun. It's good. It's gonna be
Rohan, Stan, it's wonderful to see you on a weekend when I don't normally. Rohan, I thought of you during the game. When we get to who started right back, I'll get back to you. But it left back. Then I'll have some words for you. I will definitely have some words for you. Definitely.
Well, can I just say, I'd like to answer a point that Michael Davis raised in the chat box. He says, funny how all the fan channels come alive after a loss. You see, for me, Michael, this isn't about coming on to be on the internet to chase clout. I live in Vancouver. I don't really have a community here. For me right now, I want to talk to these three.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that Ryan was going to come on because I want to talk to people after a football match. I'd quite happy to do this off camera as long as I can talk to a few people. So the fact that we're doing it live and a few people can join in with us, that's just my standpoint,
I just
We've said this many a times. This is more of a therapy session for us, right? So after a loss, you sort of need it a little more. But at least I'm not going to go overboard today, so
I'd
there is
also
not
say
going to
as well
be
that
an overreaction.
if we're
You
beating them 4-0, I'd also want to be here talking to these three about it as well. Probably
you
Oh,
more.
guys
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
guys know through my endless DMs to you that I love you all. But therapy is different from all people, and this is the last place I want to be because I might say something that I don't feel 24 hours from now.
Yeah.
So just so you realize, I'm not being a dick to you guys. I mean, I'm sure I'll get some kind of therapy out of this, but my therapy would be my family leaves me alone for 2 hours after an Arsenal loss. So I'd rather just stew in that quiet time. But I love you guys, and thanks for having me on.
Of course.
And also as well, I mean, I mean, it was literally like a second after the whistle went, I saw someone on Twitter just, let's say, like, that's it, Arteta out. And I get that. I mean, that's like someone was
Piers
literally
Morgan also.
waiting with their finger to send that, probably from the 20th minute. Do you know what I mean? And I get what sorry, what was the chat that made that comment? Was it his name? Michael? I get what Michael's saying, that there are a lot of people out there who they seem to revel in it and want to climb out of the woodwork to get on that bandwagon. But I've actually got quite a lot of positive things to say.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Go ahead,
if you look at the tweet I put out, one of the tweets I put out was like, "There's no need to lose our shit because we lost this one." You know,
Okay.
as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I would love to comment on what Stan just said, but BG, I know you have certain things you want to talk about, so why don't you take control, and I'll save my Arteta thoughts.
No, you know what? I actually love what Stan just said. Let's
Okay,
piggyback off of it.
May
Yeah,
I
go.
expound upon it a minute?
Yeah.
That first half, I was singing that old Monkeys tune, "I'm a Believer," because I was ready to apologize. I was ready to apologize to Arteta. I was going to make a whole video about it. And I'll tell you what, I agree with Stan. Fifth place going into this game, and that first half was a beautiful thing for me to watch. It felt like things were really coming together, and then a kid makes a mistake at right back. I understand. I'm not burying him. I wanted Tierney in there, but I'm not second guessing Arteta. I see what Arteta's doing. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm with Stan. Stay of execution. The guy is showing improvement.
Yeah, all right. So is anyone jumping off a bridge over a 4-0 loss?
No, just very disappointed.
Yeah.
We're disappointed after every loss that we have, but I went into this game not expecting. I tweeted before this game, the result is not as important as the performance today, right? And we didn't get a 90-minute performance. We got a 45-minute performance. We were helped by Ramsdale even in the first half, but we were competitive. We were showing that we could go there and we would, be able to compete. Second half was, like I said, same old Arsenal, but it was expected. The bright side of it is that when our rivals, top four rivals, we're not competition for Liverpool, or Liverpool is not our competition. Chelsea and Manchester City are not our competition today. So we were going to get outclassed. But the positive also is that West Ham United, Manchester United, Leicester, these teams who are our competition for that top four, top six spot, they lost points too in comparatively easier games. We didn't lose ground on them. And that's a massive positive for me today.
I never once thought we stopped trying today, and I really liked that. Yeah, we fell apart after the kid made the mistake with that pass, but I look, I am the last person, and you guys know this. I hate when it was a loss that we learned from, and fuck that. All right, there was a lot of positive today, and I think anyone that is totally upset and screaming about Arteta today is wrong. But I'd love to hear your opinion if any of you guys are against Arteta and what he did today.
Stan, you want to tackle that one first, and then I'll jump in.
I don't know if I want to sort of like point the finger at him and say he done something wrong. I would say that I spoke about this previously before the game, that if Kieran Tierney was fit, that was the person that personally, when we were talking about, who should get that starting place, I made an argument for Kieran Tierney to start. And I just felt that in a game against Liverpool, you want a fullback that's going to have defending on the front of their mind ahead of that. And I know Tierney does like to venture up the field. He does have a little bit more wherewithal at times of knowing when to get back positionally. I just feel bit of a test for Tavares today, and he did make some mistakes. I mean, that pass back was just something that I hope that is something that is a one-time thing, that he sees that and that's not something that's going to be replicated. We have a lot of players sometimes that seem to replicate their mistakes. I'm not going to go into individuals, but I hope it's a one-off. But I think the one thing that Mikel Arteta, it might have gone up in his face a little bit, and I love to see the passion from him, don't get me wrong, but his little blow up with Klopp, it did seem to kind of backfire a little bit and put a boot up the arse of the players. And maybe that's what you're seeing with a team like Liverpool, who have won things under this manager on the biggest stages, is that when their manager gets riled up, it must transmit through to the manager into the players, and that connected with him. And there'll be times as this team grows that you'll see something like that will happen, and we'll get the benefit of that reaction. We're not quite there yet, maybe, with that relationship between players and manager. But it did seem to me that everything sort of changed a little bit after that. What happened on the touchline. It wasn't long after that they got their first goal.
I am not an Arteta apologist, because I see what Stan is saying, but there was a foul right in front of Arteta, and in that atmosphere and wanting to win that game, I love the way Arteta said, "We're going there to win. Why else would you go there?" So I like his attitude. If the player gets fouled 10 feet in front of him and he's screaming about it and he loses his mind in the heat of passion a little bit, I kind of liked it. But that's just my take on it.
I mean, I agree with Stan. I think that it did backfire a little.
You guys act like he did it on purpose. He did, like he was just acting on a play on a stage.
I don't. Well, no. I mean, Klopp said something because Arteta gesticulated like it was a bad foul. I don't think it was a dirty foul.
Okay.
I think it was a bit reckless, but I don't think it was dirty. I don't think it was malicious. I think Sané's going for the ball. I think his arm just comes up in the natural ascendancy into the air, if you will, and he just catches Tomiyasu a little awkwardly. But then I think Klopp said something, and that's sort of what that's what started the jawing back and forth. But it did, I think, take away from us a little bit in the first half. Their goal aside, and I've said this before many times, the other team gets paid to play too. Liverpool's goal is just a good team goal. It's an excellent ball into the box by Alexander-Arnold. Sané does a great job keeping his eye on the ball, getting his head to it, putting it in the back of the net, and give Ramsdale some credit because he got a finger on that ball. I mean, he almost stopped that one too. But good teams, great teams are going to get that goal. We're not there yet. But for the first 45 minutes, we went toe-to-toe with one of the best heavyweights in the world, and we're trying to climb that ladder again, right?
Can I just have a 10 seconds? We are not a top 3 team, okay? And Lee Dixon during the first half, did you guys hear Lee Dixon say, "This feels like an old Arsenal-Liverpool game"? That's progress.
It did. Yeah.
That's progress.
But the second half, maybe a bit of a half step back, because in the second half we just what how do I want to say? I don't want to say we parked the bus because we're not winning.
We got pulled out of shape, I felt, in that second half a lot. And I said, I'm not sure if it was with us or on another podcast, that I felt that our biggest test in this match was going to be, we were going to find out a lot about our fullbacks. I tweeted it out as well yesterday, that we would find out about our fullbacks in this game. And I think both Tomiyasu and Tavares had quite a hard job today. And
absolutely.
Few times that they got really pulled out of position.
Well, Stan, but I think I'm not sure they got pulled out of position as much as that's just what Arteta is asking them to do. And I don't know. I'll play, as you so often do, play a little devil's advocate on that one. But I don't think I would have started Tierney. And when I saw the lineup earlier today, it was in the car. I would have started Kieran Tierney. Just here's why. And I said it
on Tuesday. You said you wanted to start him, BG.
Yeah. He's the starter. And he's just and now that being said, I am not saying that because of the howler that Tavares had for the second Liverpool goal. I just Kieran Tierney a little more experienced, a little bit better defensively, in my opinion. But all of that notwithstanding, I didn't think Tavares outside the first half. I thought he had a great game. The second half, it unraveled for him after the mistake that he made in giving the ball to Jota, right? That's when it really started to unravel for him. So I think at that point he started to get in just a little bit over his head. Started trying to do a little too much. And this is where I put out a tweet. It was 2-0 after the goal. And it wasn't right after the second Liverpool goal, but a ball came to Ramsdale. And he scooped it up, and he's looking to start a break. And no one in front of him is moving. Now, I can only see the back line and maybe Lokonga or Partey. Maybe both. Can't see Saka, can't see ESR, can't see Lacazette, can't see Aubameyang. So I don't know what they're doing. But what I know is Ramsdale is looking to start a break. He's looking to move quickly. Let's go. And then you see him stop with the ball. And now he's waving everybody forward. And it's like, if you don't know to get moving, there's nothing more I can teach you here. So I put out a tweet that basically described what I just said. And I had a few people come at me like, well, so how is that Arteta's fault? I'm like, I never said it was Arteta's fault. But in the same tweet, I said, we're playing Arteta ball, which is that side to side, backwards, the donut of despair, so to speak. We didn't even get the chance to get into the donut of despair. But in the second half, it was slow down the play. Don't take any chances. Don't get caught out of position. Just slow everything down. Keep everything in front of you. Be able to see everything develop in front of you. And we're just no good with that. We're just not good at that kind of football. We're not going to score that way. And at that point, I knew at that point this game was going to get out of hand because now they're playing scared. We played scared in the second half. We played to not get thrashed in the mentality in the second half, in my opinion, was to come out and not concede 3 goals. And we conceded 3 goals. And it happened last year at Anfield. It happened the year before at Anfield. It happened the year before that at Anfield. This has been going on for half a baker's dozen now. At Anfield, we go up there, we try to not get thrashed, and we get thrashed. I don't know if they're after a first half like the one we had. How do you look at that first half, go into the dressing room at the end of the first half or at halftime and say, fellas, it's done and dusted. Don't get embarrassed. Absolutely not. We were still in this. And I just don't get that scared mentality. But in the second half, now everybody says, but it's Liverpool. Sure, they're sharks in the water, man. That second goal, and now all of a sudden, and playing out from the back. A buddy of mine, if you'll forgive my long-windedness here, real quick, but a good friend of mine here in Pittsburgh is a massive Liverpool fan. Ironically enough, he coaches a club team in Pittsburgh called Arsenal FC of Western Pennsylvania. But massive Liverpool fan. He and I have had this exact discussion easily 6 years in a row. We go to Anfield, and he says, you cannot play out from the back against this Liverpool team, and we keep trying to do it. Why? I don't understand it. So I'm going to blame Arteta for the tactics because it doesn't work, especially against that team. But I'm going to blame the players because even in the second half, show some fight. Like, come on, show some. Your manager showed some in the first half. Show some fight in the second half. Don't just back into the corner and cover up and just absorb the body blows and try to make it till the end of the fight and go to the cards.
I felt that way at 2-0, but then it really dawned on me that I it's funny. It's like we're talking about a song. Oh, I like that song. I don't like that song. Of course, losing the way we did was horrible, but I never saw us stop trying. I'm really surprised that you're so angry, BG.
I'm not angry.
So
I'm not angry. Don't misunderstand. I'm disappointed. Yeah, maybe I am. I'm a little angry that I just feel like you stood up to him in the first half. Why did that change after the first goal? Why did you come out in the second half and just I'm not saying they did. I mean, of course they tried, but it wasn't the same. I mean, you can't tell me that you saw the same thing in the second half that you saw in the first half, because I saw the same Liverpool in the second half just capitalize on mistakes and our.
Rohan's bursting. Rohan's bursting.
So I think that the turning point of the match was when Arteta had that bust up with Klopp, right? Because that got the crowd fired up. We are the youngest team in the Premier League. You are going to Anfield with that crowd, with that team, as Liverpool, who are a counter-attacking team. There's a reason why we concede so much against Liverpool, right? Because they play us on the counter and we are worst defending on the counter. That's the issue, right? Not that Arteta did it intentionally, but he riled up the crowd as a result of that bust up, which put us on the back foot, right? The first goal, I think that's a bit of a coaching mistake for me, because I think our line was too high. When you have a team like, a delivery specialist like a TA or Kevin De Bruyne, etc., who are on the dead ball, you can't have your line so high. We should have been about like 3, 4, 5 yards behind, and then it would have been an easier chase, because that these guys can put that pinpoint ball, and there's no reason to run backwards. You're already sort of going, against the tide. So that maybe tactically that is something that we have to improve. One, in the second half, and I know that everybody can now get on to Tavares, and so here's the thing: the concern for Tavares when we had our podcast was that he's not going to be able to cope with Salah. I think he coped with Salah absolutely fine. The problem was not defensively. The problem was going forward, where a lot of times, and it wasn't just Tavares, this happened in the first half with Ben White also when he went on that run, his trademark run, and nobody's pointing that out because that didn't lead to a goal. But what we tend to do is we just go on these wild runs without knowing what our next step is going to be. That is the problem, because it happened so many times that we are going on that run and then we are trying to look for a ball which is not there. We give a horizontal ball and we get caught up on the counter. That was the problem. Tavares obviously was at fault for that goal. You can't be playing that ball against a team like Liverpool. You can't be playing like that against any team, for to be honest. So, but that's the learning curve. Defensively, he coped well with Salah, except for the goal that Salah scored, which was a tap in thanks to Mane, who only passed him the ball because he had a bad touch. Otherwise, I think the player that Mane is, he would have taken the shot on himself. Potentially, Salah could have had no goals or assists in this game. So I don't think Tavares had a bad game defensively. Offensively, it was a problem, and that we are going to learn. Again, we just couldn't keep our composure. That was the problem. But it's a young team. Anfield is a difficult place to go. Your legs will be shaking. You don't want to get embarrassed. All of this is going on, and that's what happened in the end. There's no reason to overreact. None of us are overreacting, and that's good. because some things we will improve. There was lack of movement going forward. That I think was a problem. We tried again and again to play out from the back, which when we tried to play out, we were doing well. When we tried to run with the ball was when the problem arose, right? People weren't being fast enough on the half turn, and there weren't enough opportunities created on the counter. This is the overall feeling that I have with that game. And Liverpool are just in a different level than us. So these days will happen, but I will
When I was
not really throw my toys out of the pram for this.
all
Glenn,
right, first,
let's Stan jump in here.
go
Stan, you
Stan.
there?
My head's gonna
I'm
explode.
just trying to think of where I was going to go next, because I was thinking about a player like Bukayo Saka, who for me I think might need to be taken out of the team for a few games, because he's running into cul-de-sacs for me. I love the boy, don't get me wrong, but for me today, he looked quite ineffective. I tweeted out earlier that I'm really happy that we play a formation that encompasses two strikers. I just wish it was with two different strikers. And I know that people will say, well, the midfield weren't given the ball. I'm not saying that today is the glaring point with our two strikers. It just seems to be carrying over now from game to game. It's not like they've had a good game. They've had some really good games, and today they just didn't get a lot of service. It just seems to be carrying over. And I've always been one that I love formations that encompass two strikers. I'm old school like that. I love it, because for me the game's about scoring goals. So if we've got a couple strikers on the field, I just think it's a better way to get goals. And it's still not really working for us. I'm of the opinion now that the next part of the rebuild of this team is ripping up the front and starting again, totally from scratch. But when you've got young players like Emil Smith-Rowe, Odegaard and Saka, you're gonna get days where one or two of them might not be firing because of inconsistencies. And there's nothing wrong, because we love a player like Saka, in saying maybe you should take him out for a few games.
Yeah, of course, that's sports 101. I totally agree with
coming on from the bench, maybe from a couple of games. Maybe giving Pepe a run out a little bit. Just right.
Oh yeah, Pepe. Totally forgot about Pepe. Good point, Stan. Totally forgot about him.
Or Martinelli.
Martinelli. Forgot about him. Rohan, first of all, very solid argument for Tavares. I totally respect that. And you know what? I agree with you. As far as Arteta, let me tell you, it was a lot easier when I was on the Arteta outside of the fence, where I could just scream at shit. But that man has earned enough cred for me that I'm back on the fence. He has a stay of execution, and I think you guys are being a little bit too harsh in spots on him. We had two kids playing at left back and right back. Of course, some bad shit might happen. People need to calm down a little bit.
Well, I get it. I mean, that's the one thing that I tweeted out. It's like we are young, and we are not. Stan, I think even you had a tweet. You probably even said it on one of the shows you did earlier this week. Our level right now isn't top three, right? Our level isn't Chelsea, City, and Liverpool. That's not our level. And Rowan, you said it earlier. Our level right now is West Ham, Everton, Leicester. Look, United right now to me are. I'm not going to put them in. I don't know where to put them right now. They're going to fire Solskjaer at some point before.
Put them in the category of they're going to move up the table soon. They're too good. They're too good not to. They're too good not to.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I think they get their shit figured out. They're top four for sure. So our level right now: West Ham, Everton, Leicester. The scum with Conte now in there. Wolves are in sixth right now. Yeah. So that's our level. And Stan, you said beat the teams we're supposed to beat, right?
Yeah.
And through 10 unbeaten, we've pretty much done that. Now, I would argue that we should probably beat Brighton. We should probably beat Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are an anomaly. They draw 3-3 at Burnley, yet come here go up 2-1, and it takes a last-minute equalizer from us to salvage a draw at home against them. They go to City and beat them 2-0 and beat them handily, by the way. That wasn't close.
And doesn't that make the Premier League the most fun?
It just says it's wide open, but again,
Yeah.
like the Watfords, the Burnleys, we beat those teams, and for the most part we have. Beat those teams, we should be in pretty good shape, yeah? So this result, microscopically speaking, is not the end of the world, okay? I don't like the way that we played in the second half. I love the way we played in the first half, despite being a goal down at halftime. If I'm Mikel Arteta, after this game, I break the tape down into 2, right? And I take the first half and I say, fellas, this is the one we're going to watch. And this is the one we're going to watch over and over again, because this is the one that says that the youngest team in the Premier League just went toe-to-toe with perennial Champions League favorites. Yeah, we were a goal down at halftime. There's a lot to take away from this first half. We're going to watch this. And I set that down, and I take the tape of the second half, and I hold it up, and I say, this one? And then I grab a trash can, and I bring it out in front of me, and I drop that tape in the trash can, and I grab a thing of lighter fluid, and I squirt it in the trash can. Make sure not to splatter anything anywhere. And then I get a match, and I throw that sumbitch in the trash can, and I lights it on fire, and I burn it, because there's nothing from the second half, in my opinion, that you take away and you say, watch this, let's learn from it. Or see this was good. There was nothing we're going to learn from that second half. It was that bad, in my opinion, that you just take it, you throw it away. The only place that second half ever happened was on paper and in the record books. As far as we're concerned at Arsenal Football Club, that second half never happened. We put that out of our mind. We're not going to build on anything from that second half, good or bad. It's just not going to happen. That's just my opinion. Glenn, you said, Arteta out, Arteta in. I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence, because I don't like the tactics that I saw in the second half. That's him. But I also don't like the effort that I saw from the players. That's them. So I'm still on the fence with this. I'm with you guys. We talked about it last week. He gets the stay of execution. 10 games unbeaten is going to do that. Now look. Now we go Newcastle at home after the humbling, and it's okay. Now we know our place. Now we know where we should be in the grand scheme of things. Are we the 5th best team in the Premier League? Quite possibly. We're in the argument.
The thing is, before we used to always, maybe what I used to call, we always used to score our decisive goals. What I mean by that is goals coming from the players in the team where you expect the goals to come from. That main striker, maybe that main winger. And we were always lacking with the other goals that come around the outside from set pieces, headers coming in from centre-backs, those kind of goals, midfielders. Now, though, it's gone the other way. We've come off the back of a 10 unbeaten run, but the goals that we seem to be scoring now are those extra goals around the outside. The odd one now coming in from a corner. Smith Rowe coming into the box, instead of taking a pass, he's taken a shot. But those decisive goals, the ones that win you things, the bread and butter ones, we ain't getting them anymore.
Yeah. Can I say real quick?
We ain't getting them anymore. If some of those players around the outside had up their game a little bit more, we would be, I think, a little worse off. So that's what needs to be fixed. We're not getting them bread and butter goals that a team should be getting. That's what makes you get up and down the table.
Well,
that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true, but we're not a top 3 team. And at some point, we got to give Liverpool credit for shutting down ESR, Aubameyang, and Lacazette, who people were building temples to just 2 weeks ago. So,
yeah.
Well, Stan brought up Bukayo Saka earlier, and now I'm gonna combine the 2 points that he just made, the point you just made, and then bring Bukayo Saka back into this, because he had 2 glorious chances in the first half, and in both chances he's indecisive. He is a different player with England than he is with Arsenal, and I don't know where the disconnect is. I get it, better players with England. I get it right now. They just hung 10 on San Marino. I think they're out of Southern California or something. I don't. Yeah, but anyway, it's. I've said before that Mikel Arteta's system is predicated on spreading the goals around, but getting those bread and butter goals from your main guy. Bukayo Saka needs to become more decisive within the 18-yard box. Too often he gets in there and his brain just shuts off. He doesn't know what to do, and he just kicks the ball into a defender. And he did it twice today. Emil Smith-Rowe, when it's 2-0, they showed the replay of the toe save that Alisson made on Aubameyang with the brilliant through ball from Lacazette. Emil Smith-Rowe is just kind of down. You bust your ass, because if you bust your ass and you get into the 18-yard box, that's a goal. Now it's 2-1. Now Liverpool's buttholes have just tightened up, because 2 goals, the 2-goal lead in hockey, in football, that's the worst lead in the world, because you're up 2, you concede 1. Now it's like, now all the momentum's over there. Next thing you know, it could be 3-2 the other way.
I just got to say that Stan, in my opinion, Stan hit the nail on the head. It's sports 101. Give Saka a rest. Just 1 game. That's fine.
I would, Rowan, I'm curious. What would you sit him?
Can I just say quickly before Rohan comes in, that point you made, Tanner, about you're seeing Emil Smith-Rowe the way he is on the pitch there, not running back. If you can see that at home on your television, then who is the person that should be seeing it on the pitch and should be shouting to Emil Smith-Rowe and telling him, hey, do the dirty business, do the dirty yards, mate? From
that very specific angle, that was Arteta should have been the guy that's yelling at him. Look, this is football 101 to me. It's called ball support. When the ball is going that way, you go that way. And you go that way with pace. Get there, man. Get up there. More bodies. Overload things. Make them make a mistake. We never pressured them at all today. That's another thing.
I hope some reporter brings that up to ask Arteta, because I don't know whether to believe what you guys say or that Arteta gave ESR specific instructions of what he wanted him to do and where he wanted to be on the field. So I'm just saying, I'm torn. I'm right in the middle of those opinions right there. We were trying to come back at Anfield, okay? We were down. So we had to take some chances and we got burned. Okay, that's the way I look at it.
And that's the thing, Glenn. I disagree in terms of the second half with that. We were trying to come back at Anfield, and we didn't take chances because we were afraid of getting burned. The Aubameyang, the Alisson toe save on Aubameyang is a perfect example of that, because even Lacazette, after making the pass, didn't support the ball. He stayed back. It was a one-man show. How you're down 2? How is it a one-man show? How are there 2 guys who could? I mean, Lacazette wasn't going to get to the ball on the rebound after Alisson got his toe to it. I mean, there's just no way from where he was. But even still, he wasn't in the frame. He wasn't in the picture. He was in no position. If the ball had come the other direction, Lacazette wasn't in a position to make another play on it. That was going to be. It was either going to be a goal from Aubameyang or a save by Alisson and a clear by the defender, which I believe was Van Dijk. That's what it ended up being. So I can't believe that Arteta isn't on the touchline for as much screaming and gesticulating as he does on the touchline in the technical area, that he's not yelling at ESR. And I don't want to come down on ESR, but this is in a vacuum. It's one situation where I'll criticize him and say, bust your hump, young man, and get down there. Because you get down there, you probably got a good shot at goal, because Alisson's way out of position, man. He's way out of position.
Yeah, but ESR has been making these runs in the box.
Sure.
That was one situation where he didn't make that run, and that's fine, And Arteta, knowing Arteta, he's always up people's asses, right? So he's probably yelling at that point for him to run that way and get that goal, and it's fine. We didn't get that goal. It's the through ball was great. That ball that Lacazette played was amazing. The shot was good too. Aubameyang did what he could. It was just a great save.
It's a great save by Alisson. Yeah.
That's the end of it. It's like how Ramsdale kept it from being 6 or 7. The same way Allison, when he was called on, he saved that, and that's fine too. You know what I think is right is what you've said. The first 45 minutes is a good model for us when we are playing these teams, but we are not going to be playing these teams very often anyway, right? We play City, Chelsea, and Liverpool now, and there's going to be 3 games more like this, right? Teams in and around us, those are the teams that we need to beat, which makes next week's game even more important, right? Newcastle is more important, arguably, than Liverpool. Liverpool, dropping points to Liverpool was always going to happen, and the teams in and around us are also dropping points to them, so that's fine. But we have to pick up points against Newcastle, right? Newcastle, rejuvenated Newcastle, new manager Newcastle, scoring 3 goals Newcastle. We have to get that. And then also on Manchester United, I was watching on Sky. Apparently, they have a board meeting set up for tonight where they are discussing, Ole Gunnar's future. So in all probability, he's going to be gone this week, right? And so 3 points next week for us, and Manchester United is playing Chelsea. So in all probability, it's going to be a loss for them. That gives us a 6 point lead over them. And then we play Manchester United at Old Trafford. Whatever we do, we can't lose that game. We have to go there to win, but a draw is okay as well. Away at Old Trafford, but we can't lose that because then we maintain a 6 point lead, or in the best case situation, we get a 9 point lead on them. It's a 6 pointer there. And then it doesn't matter who the new manager is because you've got that 9 point lead already on them, and that's a huge lead, right? So keeping that in mind, we're doing right. It's not a problem. I'm how gutted I am, and like generally I feel really hard to pick myself up after these games. But today the other results have sort of also picked me up, where we are at with that. There are things that the first half, our playing out from the back was really good because we were trying to make passes. We weren't just running with the ball. Running with the ball was a problem, but we learned. It's fine. We move.
Yeah,
I am in the exact same space as Rohan right now. Friggin' well put. And BG, give me a warning if you're going to yell at me again, because I was used to the 2 weeks of harmony we experienced during the international break. Next thing I know, I say I don't think we gave up in the second half, and you want to have a fist fight with me. So just give me a warning, all right?
Glenn, I just want to have a fist fight with somebody, and you're old. I figured I can take you. So. No,
I just want to add there as well. If Man United do get rid of Ollie this week, I bet Antonio Conte will be fucking furious.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I bet he's furious right now, looking at the result, thinking, if I just wait another 2 fucking weeks, I'm in.
And did you guys hear he wanted that job too?
Yep.
He wanted it.
Yep. You know what it is? You know what it is, Rowan? You know what it is? It's United hanging on to Solskjaer a hair too long to knock at Conte like we hung on to Wenger a hair
They
too
are
long.
not responding. They are not. They are not responding. They are reacting, right? And that is the problem with Arsenal. Also, a lot of times, that's the problem. That this issue for Manchester United could have been nipped in the bud 2 weeks ago. We knew that going forward, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was not the right guy for the job. They just kept hold of him, and they lost a world-class manager to Spurs of all teams. Right now, unless they get Zidane, who else is on the market right now to take up that job? Ten Hag isn't coming. Isn't coming in the middle of the season.
I bet
right?
Conte is sitting there now thinking, what could I do that would get me fired within 24 hours? I know. I'll shit in Daniel Levy's teapot. and just tell him the tea bag burst.
It's it's we could be in a much worse off position. We've gone 10 games unbeaten. The two games that you mentioned in that also, Palace are a different team now.
Yeah,
That 1 point now looks like it's a 1 point gained. Right? That draw that we had with Brighton, we could have lost that game. Brighton played
we were
better than
awful.
us.
Yeah,
We were awful. But Brighton are also the team that came back from 2-0 down against Liverpool to draw 2-2. The team that's humiliated us today, right?
Yeah.
So, putting that into context, we've done well with our last 10 games. This game was an anomaly. My problem with Arteta right now is that we're not scoring goals. We're not scoring enough goals. And this is not about today, right? Even before today, we had a goal difference of 0, not taken into account today. After 11 games, we have a goal difference of 0. That's just not good enough.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That is the problem. But structurally, we are fine. I feel defensively, we are okay. I think Lokonga, another player that we haven't mentioned today, I think he had an off game as well. His passes, he just gives away the ball too much. He has to learn. A lot of times, I think that he had made up his mind when he received the ball, which side he was going to turn, because I saw players free on the other side where he could have made that pass, but he already had thought that he was going to go this way. So he just did that. So he has to be a little more, open-minded in that way. Partey, I don't know if he was completely fit, but it's okay. I want to see more movement from our front players. That's all. Like, I'm just taking learnings from the game today. When you're playing against, set piece takers who are just as good as that, don't give that much space. Don't leave that much space between the defensive line and the goalkeeper. Ramsdale, as good as he was, he made like tremendous saves today. But maybe for Mane's touch, he could have maybe come out and tried to get that ball, because he had an awful touch there.
I was
Maybe.
thinking that. When I watching it back, I thought that I'm like, he probably could have been a little more aggressive there and come out.
No,
and
because he
challenge the ball.
wasn't expecting that. I can understand he wasn't expecting Mane to have that touch, right? Like that loose touch was unexpected, and that's fine. So
Yeah.
all of these are just moments, and it's fine. Newcastle is more important than today's game. I would have rather lost today and won against Newcastle than the other way around, because or rather lose today and win against Manchester United than the other way around, because Liverpool are not our competition. Whether we would have taken 3 points on them today, they would have still finished like 10 points ahead of us.
Yeah. I got to run, unfortunately. I have life, man. It's what happens when you make other plans.
I only have 7 minutes left, so don't feel bad. She'll be texting.
I'm like looking forward to now at 5:30 in an hour and 20 minutes. There's going to be match of the day. There were 30 goals scored today out of the 8 matches.
Yeah.
There's almost four a game. It's going to be a hell of a game, and I want to see some tactical analysis there as well. What we did and how we did that. I'm sure it's going to be the first or the second one. I think after Manchester United, it's going to be the second one on match of the day today. So it'll be interesting.
And you know what? If we're in final thoughts here, normally after an Arsenal loss, I won't even watch match of the day, but I'm going to today, and not because there were 30 goals scored, because I'm not in a terrible, completely down mood. And I can't believe I'm saying it. That's the way I feel. You're not going to hear me say trust the process, but guess what? I see the process. I see it, and I'm not going to bash Arteta for today. Sorry,
Correct.
BG.
Same.
I don't know. I am by no means here to bash Mikel Arteta today. I'm not. I don't agree with some of the tactics today, but I'm not bashing him. That's not what it. I'm with Rowan, and I think we're all in agreement. I don't think any of us are overly fussed about. I think if we if we dug deep before this match started, I don't think any of us could sit here realistically and say we thought we would get all 3 points at Anfield. I was hopeful of a draw. I like hope beyond hope that we could somehow nick them. You know what I mean? And sneak one past them. But at the end of the day, if you'd held a gun to my head last night and said, "What do you think?" Liverpool are going to take this down. They're just the gulf in class right now is just too wide. So, Rowan, I'll give you a quick minute here. Go ahead, just give me your final thoughts, and then Stan, I'll come to you last.
Final thoughts are that just wipe the slate clean. You've got a week to go. Let them refresh. Give them confidence. Give the team confidence. I when I see people like Stan had mentioned, people tweeting like Piers Morgan already, Arteta out, this, that. I was firmly Arteta out in the beginning of the season, but I think he's made good signings. I think we've made progress. And although I would still, a cynical Rohan would say that Chelsea with 10 players against Liverpool at Anfield were able to defend better than us. But that's Chelsea, and maybe that's also Thomas Tuchel, who's a better defensive, technical manager than Mikel Arteta. But right now, he's not going anywhere. Arteta's not going anywhere, and I don't want him to go anywhere as well. It's today's game was not something that where I was expecting anything, but Newcastle is somewhere that I will expect. A performance against Manchester United. The game after that is Everton. 2 games after that is West Ham. Those are the games that count more. If we lost in those games, I'm going to be a lot more pissed than today.
Yeah. Stan, final word. Go ahead.
Well, the clock has been reset. The 10 unbeaten run has now come to an end. Let's start it again now. Let's start the next run again as of next week. Let's try and get another 10 unbeaten run under our belt. Hopefully not too many draws, but with the teams that we've got coming up, there's definitely a lot of points in there. I can't remember what all of the fixtures are. West Ham's in there, Newcastle's in there, Man United's in there, and I think Everton's in there. Is Leicester? No, Leicester's not in there.
No, Southampton.
There's definitely points in there.
The next fixtures: Newcastle, United, Everton, Southampton, West Ham. Next 5.
Yeah. And then we get to that next hurdle of the African Cup of Nations as well. So more work for those behind the scenes to be planning ahead. So it's a shame that we couldn't have at least scored a goal today. For me, I feel like Glenn. This hasn't ruined my weekend at all. Obviously, I would have liked to have got some points. My biggest disappointment, though, I think, is it would have been nice to have at least scored a goal to get something from a nice bit of style of play, to get the ball in the back of the net for a small reward. But we haven't got that, so that's a shame.
Yeah. That's it. A nice quick show here for Arsenal Aftermath, and it's certainly far from jumping off a bridge. At least for the 4 of us, I don't think any of us are overreacting to this. And look, let's not overreact to it at all. We move on. We put this one in the rearview mirror and we move to Newcastle. And at the end of the day, that's the most important game now, right? As Rowan has said numerous times, Newcastle's the most important game. It's the next game up.
Yep.
That's where we go. Next game up, most important game. That's it. Let's start another unbeaten run, like Stan just said. So my final thought will just be to echo everything that you guys just said, and like Glenn said as well. We don't need to be down in the dumps and Arteta out and everything else over this loss. It's just not that. It's the scoreline looks bad. We let them kind of. We gave them 3 goals really, and we just never hit back. So okay, move on back to the training ground, and we move to Newcastle next Saturday, bright and early, fellas. That's a 7:30 a.m. kickoff here on the East Coast. And Stan,
God bless you.
You better give me a warning if there's a pregame show.
I can assure you there won't be, because I'm not getting home. I'm not getting home till probably 4 or 4:30. I'm not even sure I'll wake up to watch it, to be honest with you. I'll probably just watch it on replay. But we are back Tuesday, so I will hold off on wishing the American viewers a happy Thanksgiving, but we are coming up into the holiday week. But we will be back on Thursday, perhaps just the same four. As you see here, Ryan may not be able to make it, but we will hope for the best there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in live. Everybody that catches us on the replay, thank you all very much for catching the replay. And, yeah, we moved to Newcastle. It's been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.